story time. These stories are true events without the benefit of name changing for protection of identities. My name was used by my employer to trap and build an artifice within an established institution that would automate collections efforts for efficiency purposes. It's a word that's being thrown around quite a bit. And they used one of their trapped workers to facilitate the cuts and be the bad guy, take the fall for all the hate, for all the firings, and cuttings, so that no one in the government would have to take the rap. All the former crooked agents, FBI agents, were pardoned by the president. And now they think they're going to do the same and eliminate the need for immigrants. And they're starting with Mexicans, of course. But I want to go back to the part of the story that involves the build out of the gambling, the details of the gambling empire that was created. And it goes a little something like this. In the year of 2021, I was watching a game with my family. I voted for the Celtics. My parents voted for the opposite team. Whoever was playing opposite them, I don't remember. Maybe the Warriors that year. Following year, I kept up my fandom, not knowing that someone had reached out to the two star players, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, using my name, pretending that I was flirting with them. I was 40-something years old. I might have been 45 at the time. And they're 20-something, not even 25. I have children their age. So I would never, not that I didn't notice that they're handsome or whatever, or talented or whatever, the case is. It's just that I would never look at them as someone that I would reach out to. It just would never happen. I wasn't following their accounts, none of that. I just was watching the games, excitedly, of course, because the following season we were winning quite a bit, quite easily. Right around the All-Star game, I think the Celtics had to play the Toronto Raptors, and something crazy happened. I could feel it in the spirit. I went to a game with my brother for my birthday in January of 2023. At the Indiana Pacers Stadium, basketball stadium, Bainbridge or whatever it's called, in Indianapolis. I think I went on a Sunday, and they also were playing them on a Monday, but I only went one day. Or maybe they were playing them on a Saturday and they also played them on a Monday. I only went one day. I went straight back home that night. I slept in my bed. The following, I think we were followed home because the following month I started getting like people breaking into my house and I had to move out by March. And then someone pretended to apply to the Pacers or some sort of job within the NBA, and the NBA All-Star Weekend was hosted by Indianapolis that year. So someone was pretending to be me. All the while I was at home working for the DOJ. I never put an application for the Pacers or the NBA at that point. However, they do have something, and they did meet with me, either the Celtics or the Pacers, I'm not sure which one, but at that point I've never applied. All right, so those are the facts. Since then, I've been living with relatives who have been trying to hide me from people being able to find me and use me for their vindictive, because they realized, someone from the NBA followed you home and they're harassing you. My life has been, and I didn't know that that would happen. I wasn't aware that anyone was pissed at me for any reason. I never did anything. So, yeah. In their defense, they were led to believe that I somehow trapped them and played games with them, and I didn't. They didn't know at the time. So I was very forgiving, but things persisted to get worse for my life, and to the point where I'm now in bankruptcy. I was left at a hospital in Austin, Texas. Without identification, and they thought that I wouldn't be able to leave, but one of my sons came to pick me up. My number one son came to pick me up and take me home using my passport. The game persisted. They continued to use me without my knowledge or consent all the way through the Paris Olympics. it's just really ridiculous. Meanwhile, you have a betting now, you have a very thriving betting scam that collects debts for state and federal governments and gives them money and budgets. And then you have AI developments that eliminate jobs as well. And then you have efficiency layoffs and lowering of job values, like the value of the contributions that we give. We used to be called knowledge workers, and now we are called irrelevant. And our jobs are being, the labor costs are being driven down. And our contributions are being devalued because of AI. But it's really because of these schemes and scams that the government is using, and they still don't provide health care. They still don't provide the basic needs. They still throw us off by trying to divide the people between this false choice of two parties, and bait us using hot topics like transgender and gay. All the while, when they draft these people, they teach them there is no God, there is no gender. So, if you know, you know. If you've been through it, you know. And if you have not committed any crimes, they will try to sit on your life to force you to. Tax evasion or something. They'll get you one way or another. The back end is called tax evasion. That's what if you hear somebody saying, we'll get you on the back end, it's called tax evasion. They have literal IRS agents deputized as law enforcement. Because they are so frustrated that they can't catch you doing any crimes, that they will make you a criminal one way or another, administratively, if needs be. So the cost of this to our nation, the cost of this greed and corruption, is the cost of living has gone skyrocketed. The cryptocurrency scams have bankrupted people. People doing it's more profitable to run these pig butchery scams than to run a real job and try to make ends meet honestly. And number 3, homelessness, because the housing market is so strained. Rent costs have been driven up. People are hungry here, not just in Gaza. They've taken to manifesting things like food, like the basic necessities, and it's really sad. It's not funny. I see when I go to the grocery store, I see people filling their trunk up with cereal. Used to be dog food. Now it's cereal. Once again, if you know, you know. And if you don't, don't. Because it is a delusion. It really is a delusion. You heard a lot about delusional people. It became very popular on social media last year. You have to be delusional. Buzzword in the zeitgeist. And I'm just the type of person to leave people to their delusions, because there is a God. There is such a good thing as healing. There is such a good thing as consequences and justice. And just like Joe Biden experienced that mental decline, rumors are beginning to swirl about Trump's mental decline, if you don't believe me. All of this on the heels of the NBA Finals, and it's all coming home. This week, it's returning to the origin, as things normally do. Just as everything is popping off and the world is being set ablaze, we're coming back to where it all began. Now, in the midst of this, some things have happened that have made someone who was already able to, by prayer and faith, have and literal God ordained and God honored faith and God appointed gifts, the ability to work miracles. It's in the Bible. You'll have to look it up in the Corinthians. I can't remember if it's the first or second, but it's in the Corinthians, like maybe 1 Corinthians 12 or so, about the gifts that everyone gets. Everyone, whether you believe it or not, you get a gift. Kind of like Oprah, and you get a gift, and you get a gift. But we all got something. You just have to learn about it and how to apprehend it and bring it to pass. Anyhow, back to the point. I have always had this ability for miracles, okay? And this connection to God since childhood. For whatever reason, it's literally not my choice. My choice was to love him back, and I did make that choice. I did choose to love him and acknowledge him and honor him in my life. So because of that, creation recognizes his presence on my life. And his spirit within me. In addition to that, other things have also acknowledged, they have also acknowledged the same and work collaboratively. So that's the lesson of the day. But some people chose to sacrifice me for climate change and winning championships and contracts. I think they thought that they could harvest and copy me and use me to achieve their ends. That be like a means to an end for them. And it hasn't been working. Which is why you'll see people piss their pants You'll see people say inappropriate things in inappropriate places at inappropriate times. Politicians to children to athletes. You'll see makeup appear on their face magically. And this is because the secret sacrifice that they try to make of me, that God will not allow to stick. Like God Himself is resisting them. So, like I said, all of this has corroborating evidence. There's an application put by an imposter. The imposter was the IT department, falsified some documents. We used to use this system called CDCS, and it had something called document generation, and it says DocGen on there when a document is generated by them. And that was used to falsify applications. My wallet was stolen, like I said, so my actual ID with my address in Portage was used. I hadn't been living there. I moved to see that crooked stroke of a smile. Someone had a stroke. But it's not me. But yeah, the document generation and all that stuff is evidenced. And my ID was stolen. I moved, but I did have mail forwarding. In addition to paying for that mail forwarding, I never received anything. And the next piece of corroborating evidence is the USPS post office, because they scan every piece of mail sent, and there's no such scan exist to that address. So there's that as well. I can provide my email addresses in a separate posting, but there's no need, because LexisNexis, I've already previously supplied my information, and Lexis gives all the emails associated with my name, Veronica Flournoy, Veronica Ramirez, and there's that. Both are the same person. One is the married name, one is the divorced name. My name was restored to me after my divorce. And now you know why I say what I said, and why I showed you about the climate change. Jaylen Brown just did 4 days ago, did a talk about climate change and how we need to help with it. Very sad, but very true. And the Pacers helped to conceal the fact they used to pretend that I was AI. They would lie. Everyone wore virtual reality glasses. that was a part of the cover up as well, to pretend that I'm not a real person when I am. I really was employed. I didn't die. They pretended that I died and they paid out insurance money to my family. I did not die. And my family does not support me financially because they said, "You're dead." No one gave me an alternate identity because they wanted me to, they literally were hoping that I would just kill myself. And I did not. And you can hear them in the background. This is not going away. This is not going away. They were hiding me with one of the billionaires that they used. Multiple of them, in fact. And would trade me off. So all of that happened. And there are crumbs all over the web, all over the internet, and people have a problem to reckon with now. And they should have just come to Jesus while they had the chance. But the coach of the Celtics, whom everyone knows, is Joe Mazzulla, turned me over to a therapist, which is why he left me at a hospital. But you can hear in that audio basketball being dribbled. You can hear the voice of Joe Mazzulla. In fact, Google identifies his voice in that audio. They didn't leave me at the hospital. They took me to a therapist to try to retrain my brain. Popovich is another former CIA coach in the NBA who ran psyops on me while I was in Texas. So, it's all, the imprints are everywhere. People are on video. I'm on video all over the place. Where's Waldo? My fitness check-ins with Planet Fitness are already posted. And it contradicts some things that people know. And they don't know how to handle it. I posted the other day that it is the end of the world as we know it, because there's a new normal coming that has been necessitated by all of these games. Just to survive. Just to survive. So if I were you, I'd stay tuned to learn. As you can see, the filter changes my appearance, so you'll never recognize me. If you saw me out, you wouldn't know.